Hi, my name is Paige. Welcome to my 2023 bullet journal walkthrough. So I'm going to be showing you a couple of the spreads that I set up for the beginning of the year, things that I can use throughout the year for 2023, and tracking reading and other things that I want to keep in a journal format. I'm so excited about this journal. I have been working on it for a few weeks now, and I have loved making so many of these pages, and I wanted to show you what inspired me. So I had been trying to find new scrapbook paper to use in my journal and came across one that had this in it. And I absolutely fell in love with the design. I thought it was so fun. It looks like peacocks. I could be very wrong on it, but I loved the color scheme so much. So this was my inspiration, and you will see this scrapbook paper come up a lot in the beginning of this journal, and I think it turned out so nice. But before I begin, let me tell you about this journal. This is an Arch on Olive. I believe this is part of their fall collection, and I also think that this is the A5 size, so it's the biggest size that I could find on there that wasn't the square size. So I always get confused on their sizing, but it is the same size as my journal from last year. So again, I believe that this is the A5. It could be B6, but I think it's the A. I went with the bigger size because I felt like it would give me more space to make designs and have full spreads and all of my ideas on one page, or at least like 2 pages side by side, and not have to use multiple pages for one thing that I wanted to accomplish. So I really enjoyed the size that I had last year, so I just went ahead and went with the same size. I also wanted to let you know what colors of Tombows I was using, so I wrote down this little chart of all of the different Tombows. And these are what they look like if you're not sure what they are. They say Tombow ABT on them. And these are the colors that I tried to match to this scrapbook paper, and I feel like they turn out pretty good for a match. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to walk you through page by page and what I did, why I did it. I really did want to do a full plan with me setup, but I kept putting it off because every time I wanted to work on my bullet journal, I felt like I didn't have everything in place, and I really like just making things up as I go. So I felt like if I planned to film it, it would take way too long because I just don't really think ahead for my spreads. I just do what feels right. So we're gonna stick with walkthroughs for a while because it's just easier for me, and hopefully we can do some plan with me's later in the year. But let's just go ahead and jump in. So like I said, this scrapbook paper really inspired me, so I put it right here as my cover. I also put my name, and this is not me. This is just a random girl that I got in I don't even know where I bought it. I might have gone to like a vintage store, or I got it online, but I had a couple of silhouettes and I just really love silhouettes, so I included that on the front because I thought it would look very simple and clean, and I really like how this turned out. The next page is my mood board. So I took things that I would hope for next year, things that I want to try and work on more, things that I have been working on that I loved. I got all of these on Pinterest. None of these are my original photos or anything, so I don't claim any of that. But right here we have a quote that says, "I'm creating the life of my dreams." We have some books, we have friends, we have tarot, we have bullet journals. We have another quote that says, "I hope you find someone who always chooses you, and if you don't, I hope you always choose yourself." And just a few other images that I really liked that spoke to me. And then right here, I wrote the word brave because I feel like that is going to be my word of the year. That is something that I'm striving for. I felt like all year, I just kept thinking, wow, this friend is brave. This family member is brave. They do these things that scare them, and I don't. So I want to be able to use that word for myself next year. So that is why it is there. This is my 2023 goals page. If you can see, I did have to cover up my original writing right there because I didn't like it, but that's okay. So this will be where I will write down all of my goals. I'll do some reading goals, some content goals, and then personal goals, and I will share them with you as I fill them in. But I wanted to wait until closer to the end of the December, closer to the end of the year, to really sit down and think about what I want to make these goals. Then we get into my future log, and I am planning to do this more so for readathons and other things like book clubs that I want to be participating in for certain months, more so than my actual day-to-day life events. I might throw in a few birthdays of friends here and there, but I feel like I really want to focus more on reading content and stuff, so readathons will go into this. And I did a little Dutch door style, and if you can see, all of the titles of the months had to be covered up because I, again, did not like my handwriting the first time around. So I just made it all cohesive and redid all of them. But I feel like it turned out pretty decently. I did not want to write in all of the days of the month, so that will be another day's problem, or I just might leave it with these empty little circles because I think it's kind of cute. This is my Goodreads goal. I tried to do a little bit of like a plaid inspired theme, and I feel like it looks a little bit like a basket, but that's okay. I am not in love with it, but it will suit its needs. I feel like it will do what I need it to do. And my goal is going to be 160 because I doubled from last year. So last year I put 180. I'm currently at about 130 books, so I feel like adding an extra 30 wouldn't be the worst goal. So we're gonna see how it goes. Usually my unofficial Goodreads goal is just to get to 100, so if I get there, I will be satisfied. Whew, this page was so rough. I have writing underneath it that I did in a color I didn't like. I tried to go over it. I tried to go over it again, and I just ended up covering it up completely and using these bits of scrap paper to write The Story Continued, which is my book club that I host with my friend Serena. And I thought that this would be a nice place to see overall the books that we're reading just in one spread so that we can see the similarities and differences and just see how our book club has changed throughout the year. So I don't love how this spread turned out very much. I like the leaves, I like the months, but this header is not my favorite. But I do like my peacock design, so that makes me happy enough. Here is where I have something new that I didn't have in last year's bullet journal, which is series and shows trackers. So this is where I'm going to put a couple of the book series that I really want to get into, like Stormlight Archive comes to mind, and I want to put a little box for every book that is in the series and then check them off as they go. I did give a lot of space. I don't think there's any book series I want to read that is this long, but I really liked this checkered pattern. I don't know what to call it, but I liked how that turned out. Down here, I'm going to try and partake in a 12 and 12 read along where we're trying to read 12 classics in 12 months. I have a few classics set for certain months that I would like to read, but it's a very loose challenge I'm going to try and give myself. And over here is my movies and shows tracker, because I don't watch a lot of movies or TV shows anymore. I used to when I was younger, and I have a list that friends and family have given me of different shows and movies they say I have to watch, and there's also some classic shows and movies that I've never seen, so I'm going to write them here and try and watch them throughout the year. I just have a check mark for when I do complete it, the name of it, if it's a show, a movie, and what platform I can find it on, because I like to arrange my shows and movies by if it's on Hulu, if it's on Netflix, if it's on Disney Plus, so I know where to look, because that makes it so much easier. And again, a lot of these spreads will not be filled out. Actually, I don't think any of them will be filled out because I'm waiting until the end of the year. I also want to make sure that I haven't started a book in a series or finished a movie that's already on my list currently, so that I don't have to cross it off or something. So I'm waiting until we get closer to the end of the year when I know that I won't have read or watched anything, as with the other pages, so that I know I haven't finished those goals or whatnot. So this page is partially incomplete. I have this empty space that I don't know what to do with yet, but I'm going to try out the 23 in 2023. So I am currently missing 3 goals, so I haven't written them out yet, but there are going to be 23 things that I list here, and I'm going to try and do them 23 times in the year. So something that comes to mind is watching an episode of TV. So I'm going to try and watch 23 episodes of a TV show in 2023. So little things like that I'm going to write down here. This blank spot, not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but hopefully I'll get some inspiration by the end of the year. And over here, this is my These Books Will Deconstruct list. So I started making that list in 2020, and I have a few books that have not been read. And I feel like once they go on this list, if I do not read them by the end of 2023, they're gone for sure. Then we'll have 2021 books that will have like a bit of a grace year for them. I could finish them. I'll try and finish as many as possible. And then I just have my watch list of 2022 books that I did not finish on my TBRs, and if I don't finish them, let's say in probably 3 years, then I really have to get rid of them. I should have gotten rid of them after the year, but I just can't do it, okay? So having it front and center might help me read them, or might get you all to talk me into finally getting rid of them, because I just clearly don't have interest in them anymore. But again, I don't know if I'm going to read the ones that were on the 2020 or 2021 list yet, so I haven't filled this out. I am super excited about this page because I wasn't sure if it was going to work out. I kind of just roughly sketched this out, and then eventually it turned into this. But this is my 2023 best read. So I have each book kind of bracketed out in quarters, and then we'll have a quarter winner, and then we'll have first half of the year winner, second half of the year winner, and then we will get our overall winner for the year. I'm super excited to fill this out. I really like how it looked. It's super simple. I am just so proud of it. I don't know. I was sketching all over this page. There were so many pencil marks. I was so worried that I was going to mess something up, mess the sizing up, but I'm just so happy with how simple it turned out, but still how nice and organized it is. So I'm excited to see how this looks filled out. I am planning to write the titles in these smaller boxes and then print out the covers for these winners of the quarters and the halves of the year, and then our final winner at the end. So this is probably one of the pages that I'm most excited to fill out. And then we are coming up to, I think, the last spreads that I have completed. I have a few more that I haven't done yet, but this is where I'm going to be writing out my TBR. I really liked having it all written out in my other journal and being able to check if I read it, if I DNF'd it, unhauled it, or at the end of the year if it's still unread. And just knowing how many books are on my TBR shelf at all times really puts it into perspective, how many books I'm buying, how many books I'm hauling and unhauling and reading. And I just really liked having that visual for myself. It made me feel really motivated to read the books on my physical TBR. So I am giving myself about 8 full pages for this TBR spread, just because I needed so many extra pages in this year because of how many books I hauled, and I wanted to have all of the space needed. Hopefully I don't need to use up all of these pages, but I like that they are there if I needed them. So that does bring me to the end of the spreads that I have completed. I do want to do a then and later sort of spread where I write down my answers on the 1st of January and then the 31st of December at the end of the year, what I thought at the beginning and the end of the year. I'm just not sure how I want to lay that out. And I also want to do a really large tarot spread for the entire year. I might take up 2 whole pages to do that on, but I haven't figured out how I'm going to lay that out yet, so I haven't done them. The only other thing in this journal is my swatches of all of my Tombow markers, just so I know what they look like and I can use them for future spreads, and I left a lot of space for if I do acquire more markers for that. So that wraps up my journal. I know it was a pretty short video, but I didn't want to do too many spreads at the beginning of the year. I want to also do some for the end of the year that I'll fill out once I get to the end. I just haven't decided on what those will be. But I really hope that you like this. I was so excited to do this. I really love how it turned out. I love the colors and how they all fit together, and I'm really excited to jump into this journal. I'm excited for 2023. I feel like it's going to be a very good year. So let me know if you have any ideas for spreads that I can include, what you think my January theme should be. I haven't even thought about what I'm going to set up for January, but I need those ideas. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you subscribe so that you can see how this journal looks by the end of 2023 and go along with me on my bullet journal journey. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. All right, goodbye.